I feel like paintings can have movement and vibration and rhythm, which is what we associate to sound. And I think that, colors and forms can dance. I know that I can be moved by work when I see that, and I've always felt like that's how I translate my work too. It's always been important to me that there is movement, that flow, because that's how the work is made. Like I'm in sort of this transitory feeling or perception. And I think that, nature has so many patterns and so many sounds. I think that's the most immediate thing before sight, I think, what we hear. And I feel like it already sets the body up for, it opens it up for experiences. And then, then you start to see the light, and you start to see even just the swaying of the trees, and that creating a patterned sound. Then you might hear the wind, and all these things are coming together, all these elements. I think that's why we're so moved when we do go into nature, because I think we get to sort of, even if it's momentarily, step outside of ourselves. Yeah, I think my first real exposure to landscape and to having that feeling of, let's call it the sublime, where the thing that you're seeing, you can't even put into words, it takes you away and sort of shocks you, is the first time I went to Italy. I remember seeing a light there that I'd never seen before. My dad's from Italy and my mother's from Mexico, and they met in Mexico and got married there and then moved here. We don't have any relatives here, so I didn't grow up with cousins, aunts, uncles, none of that. And so I think I invented my own mythologies of who my parents were, where they came from, and who all these other people were. And so from then on, I kept making my work about travel. And I just kept wanting to have that feeling of not feeling the ground beneath your feet for a moment, this intensity of being somewhere new, and how your senses are super heightened. I think that happens to a lot of us when we go somewhere new for the first time. Color is maybe more saturated, food tastes better, air feels different. I love to see the reflection of the water on the tree right at the base. Too, it mimics that horizontal all the way up. So 1 year ago, I moved to Rural Caledon with my partner Corey and my son Austin, and in an area that I was not previously familiar with. The thing that I noticed the most is it's really changed the way that I work and the way that I produce, and the flow of working is in a way that it's never existed before. I think because I've never been enveloped in a subject before in this type of way, it's just constant. And the river reminds me of it too, because it's constantly moving and going. And when I go on trails nearby, every time, I think, what is this? This is extraordinary. The puddle is mirroring the sky exactly, this just the peaches and the blues with the exact same pattern. And then this just drives right in. And I'd never made work that was local before. And it really presented a lot of opportunities because I was able to continuously embed research and experience and have it like overlap, like layer it, like go out, walk, come back, make work, go back out. I have this desire of depth, I think, to hold. I think, well, you know, in some ways it holds the viewer. I know it holds my attention. When I see a work with depth, I just love to travel within it and I love to get lost. And I think that's a feeling that I've always really desired is to feel lost. And I think that's what happens, like this bewilderment that happens in nature is a very similar feeling. And we see things in different proximities, right, and distances. And you know, there's something that happens when you see something really close to you, like it could be the flickering of these leaves and maybe that gets your immediate attention, but I've always personally been drawn to like these drops in environment. You know, where the space itself just has these different planes and just goes on and on and on. And again, I think that the more perspective that is achieved, I think the more you can travel in a work and allow yourself to just move and be in a space, even just for a moment. And I think those moments are something that can be really quite special.